All right, you're making noise again. I don't know what that is.
Trotskis.
Hey, what's up, players? This is Hall of Famer Teddy Long, and right now we're getting ready to have a six-pack challenge match with Potsy and Tino on the big podcast show. Holla at a player.
Really?
Ladies and gentlemen, you'll never see it coming. It is the Potsy and Tino show live. Instant reactions for SummerSlam. We will get to that in a bit. Tino, the show is always brought to you by Adams, by the Potsy and Tino. Wait, I don't even know. I'm still so mystified, and I still haven't seen it coming. No, our theme song is always brought to you by Adam's House Cats, called The Wrestling Song. It's available on iTunes for 99 cents. Thank you to Teddy Long for putting us into a six-pack challenge match, player.
And you're right. They would never would have seen this show coming. We had to do, I think we need to do this special show because Monday's show, we recorded for 2 hours, but nothing came out.
Yeah, I haven't had one of those episodes happen where for whatever reason it doesn't actually record since maybe the Potsy and Turd. But yeah, so folks, we are live, instant reaction show for SummerSlam. But before we do that, and we're not going to do the whole "What's up with you" thing. We're going to do that tomorrow when we make sure that we're live, sitting next to each other. Even though we do look like we are because we're in both green rooms and everything else. So, but Tino, I'm going to ask you before we really get into SummerSlam, because it was in the same venue, what your thoughts were of Thunderdome.
I absolutely love Thunderdome. It added more. It's exactly what they needed to do. It added that crowd in there. Even though they had to pipe in that crowd noise, it still looked like they had butts in seats. It filled out the arena. It looked awesome.
The only thing I didn't like about that aspect of it was there were too many of people like this. You know?
And I think, and some of them looked like they were like just pictures, because some of them were just like,
yeah, it's like,
and they never moved. So,
so I agree. I absolutely love the spectacle of it. I think tonight's was even better.
Oh my God.
It like I think they actually probably had someone go out there and go, "Hey folks, be alive for this. You are live again." You know, like be excited about that. And you actually saw them cheering and you saw them clapping when certain people
saw them booing.
Yeah, you saw all that when Sasha and Bailey came out. I have one really big problem with the beginning of it though.
Rob's rant.
Yes. I probably need to make a banner for this, Rob's rant.
We hadn't had one of those in a while.
So, and I did not warn Tino in advance besides telling him I had one for tonight. So all right, folks, here's what it was. Last night during SmackDown, you have Vince McMahon come out. Haven't seen him since in his office at Money in the Bank, right? When AJ and Daniel Bryan had to put the chairs back in the office the right way.
Was that after Triple H's 25 year?
Yes. Yeah, because his 25th anniversary, I think, was in April or something, and Money in the Bank was May. But yeah, or if it wasn't, it was the 25th anniversary where he'd already had a couple too many libations in the back because he was definitely not as lively as we expect, and the inside jokes nobody understood except for Vince, not even Triple H. But he comes out and he's like, "Welcome to WWE SmackDown in Thunderdome." And you know, it was great, right? Like everything was great about it. And what do? You know, Busted Open was even talking about how like the first thing they did was they made sure to show you what all of these new things could do by bringing down the Fiend, right? Right? Okay.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
Right.
What does Vince McMahon do when the Fiend starts coming down? The creepiest freaking character in all of WWE. What's he do? He puts his hand in his pocket and he stands there with a smile on his face. This is not what Vince McMahon would do. Vince McMahon would shit his pants. Or at least
I
he'd
don't
get
know.
Jim Ross to shit his pants. Because he's the guy that wants you to be creeped out by that character. So he's not going to wait in the ring and go, "Hello, Mr. Fiend." He's not going to do that. He's going to sit there and he's going to be like, I got to get out of here. But I can't because it's Thunderdome, right? And then he's just gone because Braun's music hits and they just, like, I don't understand why when you have people like Triple H who flat out say that nobody was going to believe Mick Foley turning into Cactus Jack would be scary unless he sold it. Mr. McMahon just sits there at 74 years old and he's like, "Gonna put my hand in my pocket, just gonna hang out, gonna wait until the Fiend gets in the ring, just gonna like say hi, what's up?" No.
Well, no, but I also think it's that old. But you got to also remember too, Vince McMahon was also a cocky sumbitch back in the day. So he might have been just standing there like, "What are you gonna do to me?" He might have been bowing up, showing his machismo against the Fiend as well.
Not anymore. And if you're gonna do that, he's got to get knocked out. He's
Not
got
at 74.
He's got, well, put him in the mandible claw. Like that's what Bray Wyatt does. Drop the mandible claw. Boom. Done. Like, if you're going to be the cocky sumbitch, you got to be ready to take a bump. And we know at 74, Vince McMahon's willing to drop from a 10-foot tower that Mojo Rawley and Gronk didn't want to. Gronk showing exactly what kind of pussy bitch he really is by not taking that bump until he saw a 74-year-old man do it. Give me a break.
Wow. You are on a roll tonight. What is wrong with you?
What do you mean?
You're an angry little leprechaun.
He sat there. He was like, "Oh, no, I'm not doing it." Not until he watched Vince McMahon do it. Give me a break.
You are an angry little leprechaun right now.
Oh, you're going to pull out the hornswoggle shit, huh? Okay. Ahmed Johnson, motherfucker. Monty Brown. Who do you want to be tonight? Like,
yeah, Heath Slater, Sheamus, Love Shout looking bastard.
You look like you ate Teddy Long and put on an Edgar costume of Teddy Long. That's what this looks like over here.
Edgar costume.
Yeah, don't you remember when now I have to explain it, so it's not going to be as funny. Shut up. When Vincent D'Onofrio put on the Edgar costume in Men in Black, and he's just walking around like this the whole movie, but he's the Edgar costume. Anyways, all right. So I'm pretty much done my rant there, but I do think that, like, when you're trying to sell, like I said, I think when you're trying to sell the Fiend as this monster, you got to let him be a monster. You can't have Vince McMahon just be like, "All right, I know it's Bray Wyatt. He's gonna be on later, and he's just gonna," because at the end of the show, everybody's creeped out by him, sitting there like, "Oh, he just got out of the back of a van. It's not down by the river." You know, like, anyways.
Move on.
Come on, man. I'm on a roll right now with that. Folks, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, if you are watching the show live on YouTube right now, don't be shy. Say hi. We love to hear from you. We love to go ahead and jump right off the tracks and just start answering your questions rather than doing what we're supposed to, which is following our SummerSlam instant reaction show. So, Tino,
all right, here we go.
Let's go ahead and start with the pre-show. I didn't watch it.
I didn't either. I'm being honest.
I did actually watch one of the matches. By the way, Renee Young did say goodbye tonight. She
saw that. She
finished up her stuff with WWE. So good luck on your future endeavors. You are now an ex-WWEer, so an AEWer, right? Yes. An ex-WWEer.
Yeah, that's exactly where she's going.
And then the match that they showed during the pre-show was Apollo Crews versus MVP. Apollo goes over again, and then the Hurt Business comes down and really doesn't put a hurting on anybody. It's pretty disappointing.
Really?
Yeah.
What they do?
They came down to get Apollo Crews, and he like snuck out, and I think he took a little bit of a beating, but not like what the Hurt Business should do, right? So
Okay.
it's more like the Orange Cassidy kicks of the WWE, the Hurt Business. Okay. Yep. All right. So and then of course the other match that I really didn't care at all about was the Street Profits versus Aquaman and Andrade. It looks like they're continuing the idea of dissension between Andrade and Aquaman. Though they were wearing similar outfits tonight, so at least they had that going for them.
I actually thought they were going to go over Street Profits tonight.
I started to think that, but then I really thought that, and I think what you saw with Andrade actually going to check on Zelina Vega, that I think that's the beginning of the babyface turn for Andrade.
Really?
Yeah, remember in the Dark show that we did that won't ever air, you and I discussed the fact that we think that Andrade may stand up for the honor of his girlfriend's father, Ric Flair. So if he's checking on the female valet and everything else, he's showing babyface tendencies. So it's possible they start doing that. There are rumors, Tino, that starting tomorrow night that they're just going to change up all the storylines and just start fresh. So it's going to be.
Here's a couple questions for that. Then you've got does he take Zelina Vega with him? If you want to go on that route, if Andrade is going to go with Charlotte Flair and Ric Flair, you also notice that Kevin Owens did announce that tomorrow night on the KO show he's going to have Aleister Black. So you think Aleister Black's going to come out and get involved with that with the I can't say his name. Aquaman and Alejandro. Do you think he's going to get into that storyline?
Well,
Andrade.
I think that they've kind of been intertwined in a storyline already. So I mean, although they did kind of make they did kind of make Aleister Black go with Seth for a while until they sold his injury.
So are they going to start? Are they going to start making some of these behind the scenes relationships come forward? I mean, they started with Seth and Becky. Now they've got Mia Yim and Keith Lee came out. Obviously,
Scarlett and Cross.
Carrion. So do you think they're going to go ahead and admit that Andrade is with Charlotte and Aleister is with Zelina, and are we going to start mixing and matching these?
I don't know. I think maybe like Aleister comes out and and then Andrade and Vega come out and Andrade just sits there, or Aleister Black sits there and says, "I saw what you did last night, so my beef's not with you anymore." And then he turns to Aquaman. I don't know. But I think it is time that we start seeing new feuds because we need to get away from the boredom. But we'll talk more about that tomorrow night, obviously, because that's going to be our regular show.
Yeah. Speaking of new feuds, they need to build something quick because the only thing they've got for next week's pay-per-view is the women's tag team match.
And they haven't even said who it's against yet.
So we'll talk about that tomorrow. Maybe they'll start building that tomorrow. We'll get a week's.
I think they will. I think they will. So Tino, the next match I want to talk about.
Yes.
Is Dominic, Seth, Angie, Ray, and Buddy Murphy.
I had you add Angie back in there because she looked like she was going to come down and kick somebody's ass.
Guerrero someone's ass. Like she was gonna Vicky Guerrero somebody. I was the right man went over. There's no reason why Dominic should win this match.
And I agree. And I think this was an excellent match. We talked about it off the air. Seth carried Dominic. I mean, Dominic, yeah, you can still tell he was green, but it was a good match. Seth carried him.
Oh, I mean, Seth is definitely the ring general there, so he's got to carry him. If you want to have yourself listed as one of the top guys in the industry, you've got to be able to carry anybody from a brand new rookie to what Adam Cole did last night at NXT TakeOver. And with Pat McAfee, you've got to be able to not just call the match, but to make them look like $1 million while doing so. And I think that the one thing that I really did like seeing tonight that we hadn't seen up until this point was Seth get his receipts for the beating he dished out on Dominic a couple weeks ago. because by the end of that match,
You see his back.
Seth Rollins had more raspberries than a field. Okay, like it was pretty gruesome looking. Like there was a lot more volume to the beatings in some cases tonight. In fact, I didn't even write this match down because I totally forgot, but it was one of the bad booking decisions that I was talking to you off air about, and that was the Mandy Rose versus Sonya Deville match, which I'm going to tell you why the booking was bad here. I think what happened, and if we go kayfabe on it, Sonya Deville's house got broken into while Mandy Rose was staying with her, so they're still best friends in real life and everything. But what happened was this guy was stalking her, tried to kidnap her so that she would answer all of his questions, is what he said that he wanted her to do. The police came, they found zip ties, they found duct tape, they found wire cutters. I mean, like everything this guy would need to Dexter Loomis somebody, okay? And I think that's why the match on Friday night went from being a hair match to a loser leaves WWE match, which I am completely fine with that booking decision because Sonya Deville is probably taking time away from the WWE. Like I think she's going to just go away for a while, and I bet it's because someone, Stephanie or somebody actually said, hey, it's probably a good idea for you to take some time off after that. But they'd already built that story up and showing that she was a professional. They went ahead, did the match. Here's where I had a problem with it, Tino. It wasn't any of that, okay? I'm even okay with who went over because I knew Sonya Deville wanted to go away for a while. My problem with the match is when you watch SmackDown and you watch Mandy Rose's promo, she is sitting there saying, can't we get back to who we were? We've had a lot going on. Can't we get back to who we were? And Sonya comes out and drops the mic on a monster promo where she's like, you're going to get yours, bitch. Right? So why in the hell, when the match started, was Mandy Rose so flat out insanely mad at Sonya Deville based on the fact that she said, I don't want to fight you. I want to get back to being friends. We didn't see a reaction from her after that, but they immediately went into this match with her going, I'm going to beat this bitch senseless.
Well, because I think, and you got to think of the psychology of it. Friday night, she did reach out, in my opinion, and I noticed that too, but I think in my opinion, she reached out to Sonya and she's like, hey, we've been through so much. Why can't we be friends? And Sonya was like, well, no, you're going to still face me and you're going to get yours, bitch. And then Mandy came like, well, okay, bitch, it's on. Let's do it. That's how I looked at it.
I think that if you're going to do that, you have to show it on air, right? And this is how you do it, Tino. You have Mandy Rose come down to the ring. All her music and everything. Then you have Sonya come down all like angry and everything. And you have Mandy plead to her with a microphone. And you have Sonya sit there and look like she's going to hug her. And then she slaps the shit out of her. And that gets you your, all right, it's on. Right? They didn't do that. They didn't give that to us. So they missed a major opportunity of really good storytelling that would have only taken a minute.
I can see your point. But like I said, I thought about that too. And then, like I said, I came to the conclusion it was, all right, I tried. You want to do this? Let's do this.
You ever seen a movie where all of a sudden, like, you see a segment in it and you're like, what just happened? But then you watch like the director's cut and that moment's in there and they actually show it and they're like, oh, we had to cut some stuff out for time. And you're like, well, that needed to be in there, and you didn't have it in there. This was one of those moments. It needed to be there. Imagine that crowd reaction, because at that point, so far, that crowd was dead, right? So that would have livened them right up. Would have made the crowd go, or like this.
Shut up! You're such an ass.
But so that was my problem with that. With the Dominic versus Seth match, like I said, I think the right guy went over. I think Ray being a traditional luchador, did everything he could, and this is where I think the booking was right, did everything he could to not get involved. And it took Mama Ray coming down to that ring and him going, no, mamacita, no, mama.
Yeah.
No.
Because he knew it was about to go down.
And she was going to take a kendo stick. Like, I was waiting for Angie to take one for her baby, but cooler heads prevailed. Ray turned around and jumped right on Buddy Murphy.
I even like the fire that Dominic got when Seth was walking towards his mom. He fired up just
have that, right? He needed that Hulk up moment, right? But what was Seth gonna do to an unarmed woman? Like it really brings up how this whole angle started, right? Because if you think back, the very beginning of the angle was Rey Mysterio walking up to Seth and going, "Hey, congratulations. I know what it's like to be a father. You're going to love it." And then Seth just snaps on him, right? So going all the way back to that, was Seth going to hurt Mama Ray? Because I loved how he was walking up to her, with the arms wide open, come be a part of the ministry, right?
I think if he got close enough, she'd have been part of his ministry.
Yeah, it would have it's one of those moments where you just I like how it went down, but I kind of wanted to see what was going to happen there. You know what I mean? And where the hell was she when Dominic finally lost the match? Did she go to the back, or was she still standing at the top of the ramp and those two walk right by her?
Yeah, that wasn't.
She's like, oh, okay, Ray's getting out of the handcuffs now, and Dominic lost the match. I can go to the back now.
I'm going back to catering.
Yeah, exactly. I heard they have my favorite dish back there, flautas or something. I don't know. So all right. So anything else you want to say about that match?
Nah, it was a good match, and I agree. The right guy went over.
Yeah.
But it didn't hurt Dominic. He still looked strong in defeat.
Yeah, no, I agree. For his first match out, even though he didn't know how to wear his outfit, he
also the hood. I thought it was the mask at first. I didn't realize it was just a hood.
Well, I actually thought he was wearing AJ Styles' outfit, like his come down to ring outfit.
Well, you notice that Seth Rollins had Rey Mysterio's
Halloween Havoc.
Halloween Havoc,
1997. Nice throwback there. 23 years. Now, I did find it weird that his question marks didn't have the little ball at the bottom of them.
You looking a little too close. I didn't even notice.
Well, I was trying to figure out whether or not it was supposed to be S's that were backwards for Seth, or if they were really supposed to be the mystery sign.
I didn't even notice.
So I did, because it didn't initially dawn on me that was the Halloween Havoc outfit until I saw it online. But I knew that it looked like it was I'm going to wear your outfit tonight kind of thing. It definitely looked like Mysterio, but I was just thinking, maybe he's playing it up, he's making it his own kind of thing. So I don't really have anything else to say about that match. For a debut, Dominic looked good. They covered him up in case he doesn't have that body that wrestlers are supposed to have when they first show up for their first match and everything. But he took his lumps, he took his beating, and there are some guys that are second, third, fourth generation guys that will not take those bumps that he's taken in the past couple weeks. So I look forward to seeing what else he does. But he does need his own moveset. He should not be doing the frog splash at this point.
I mean, like you said, he debuted. He's got time to come up with something new. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, he needed something out of the box. So I'm sure as he develops his character more, he'll come up with his own. He'll come up with his own finisher, his own moveset.
Yep. So first actual match of the night was Bayley versus Asuka for the SmackDown Women's Championship. They have been doing everything they can to make Bayley look weak going into this match. She lost a match against Naomi last week after Naomi had already lost to Sasha Banks. She had lost to Asuka already like 2 weeks before that. Like every match she's been in since she beat Nikki Cross at the last pay-per-view, I think Bayley had lost going into this match. And the theory was because she lost the Beat the Clock challenge that this was going to be the beginning of the dissension between her and Sasha. And what we got here was we got Karen did not have to go to the manager because Sasha helped her win the match. Pretty solid match. It definitely seemed shorter than what these two are probably typical of, and I think it's because they knew that Asuka would be going again later in the evening, so they didn't want to gas her out. But I do like when we get. I set the next matchup for the next thing we talk about because I do have another bad booking moment at the beginning of that match. So thoughts on this one, Tino?
I think it was a solid match for what it was. The only thing that confused me at the end at first is when the bell did ring when Asuka lost, and then Sasha came in. I thought it was going to be I thought that match was starting the next. I thought it was going to be like a gauntlet, like Asuka was going to have to keep going. Then I was like, well, then that might stop her from being able to win either belt.
Since they started the night with that match, I kind of assumed that they were going to put it on like in the second hour, just so that they'd actually give them time to catch their breath and, just in case there were any injuries or minor things that they needed to work out or whatever, that they'd be able to do that. So I had no problems with the pacing of where the two matches were on the card. I did find it odd that I think the Dominic and Seth match happened after the second match. And it almost seemed like they were doing that as like the Dominic and Seth match is like the bathroom break match, but then they
were like a buffer.
Yeah. But then I mean that match actually lived up to or beat expectations. So I was okay with that. Here I was okay with Asuka losing. Asuka's supposed to be a Raw superstar, so the fact that she's going up against a SmackDown superstar for the SmackDown Championship, I'm okay with Asuka losing because that would have put both of them on SmackDown and really would have forced the power play of how many big named female wrestlers are on SmackDown then, especially since we don't know when Charlotte's coming back and when she does, we expect her on Raw, but we don't know. Right.
Yeah.
But then, like that's all I really have to say about that match. Sasha beating her down after the match makes a lot of sense. The fact that she helped Bayley win the match actually makes a lot of sense. But then we go into this match, okay? And this was later in the evening, but here's where the bad booking was, okay?
Yeah.
Asuka lost that first match. She should not come down to the ring. La, 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 la. No, she should be pissed the F off. She should, especially since Sasha beat her down after the match. She shouldn't be willy-nillying it down to the ring. She should have been booking it down to the ring. Or she should have figured out a way to come up from behind one of those screens in the Thunderdome, and caught them off guard by having them looking at the entrance and her coming up from the timekeeper's table.
Sasha could have been playing mind games too. I mean, Sasha knew that she was hurt. Not Sasha. Asuka could have been playing mind games, because she did get jumped. So maybe she's making it like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Because that's Asuka's deal.
Kind of like your thought process of Vince is a badass, so he can come down looking like the badass that he is. I get it.
She doesn't want to look weak. She doesn't like she's hurt. She don't want them to look like that they affected her anyway.
I get it. I think for storytelling purposes, your way works. I think the other way would have been better.
Okay.
Here's where, like this one got interesting though, because it looked like Bayley was doing everything to help Sasha win the match, same way that Sasha helped Bayley win the match. And then Bayley jumps up on the ring apron. Asuka goes to hit her. She moves. So it's not like she didn't distract Asuka.
Mm-hmm.
But she didn't take the bump which suddenly had the Byron Saxton and Tom Phillips sitting there saying, "Oh, Bailey's not willing to take the heat for the move, blah blah blah," and because of that, and that's when Asuka ends up rolling her up and putting her in the Asuka lock.
Well, if you remember, because that's how Bailey won the first match. She Sasha took that hip attack, and then when she turned around, that's when she rolled up for the schoolgirl.
Right.
So it's the same thing. It's the same.
They tried to do the same exact thing. I get it. Again, though, it isn't like she didn't distract her. You know, she still did what you're supposed to do when you hop up on the ring apron. You don't want to take a bump. You don't want to get knocked off the ring apron. You're wearing 2 championship belts. You get knocked off the ring apron, you could seriously hurt yourself. So I'm okay with what Karen did there. Although it's interesting to me, and I don't know how you feel about this, but it's interesting to me that the booking here is, yes, the Raw superstar wins back the Raw championship. I'm okay with that, but it still feels like Sasha just won that belt. Now she lost that belt. Now they're going to make her look like the weak link of that tag team, when I think storytelling-wise, it would have been better for Bayley after 350 days to lose her championship. Disagree?
And I think that for her to lose, because she has that long streak, I think it needs to be Sasha that beats that streak. I think that, yes, Sasha lost that belt. I think it makes sense for the same way it's just reverse of what we thought was going to happen. We thought that Bayley was going to get mad if she lost her belt and Asuka didn't. So Bayley was going to be jealous. I think it's going to play out now. Both women are on SmackDown, Sasha and Bayley. Sasha's going to be like, "Hey, I helped you. Why didn't you help me? I lost my belt." So she's going to play that jealous role, and that's going to start the chase. That's going to start the turn and going towards Bayley's and Sasha for that belt.
Well, and there's still also the possibility here that they lose the tag team championships, because right now they're allowed on both shows still, or all 3 shows, because they've got the tag.
And I'm calling it right now. I think Bayley's going to be the one that loses that belt. So Sasha's that's going to give more fire for Sasha to get back and say, "So you didn't help me. You didn't help me keep my belt. Now you made us lose the tag team belts."
Well, this is going to be one of those moments where the easiest booking decision is going to be the push back and forth before all of a sudden, like, Sasha pushes Bayley so hard that she just gets rolled up for the 1, 2, 3. You know, like, and then of course she'll be like, because she like, and all the people in the audience will be like, "Yes." But I think you're right, and I think that this is one of those moments where you don't have to overthink the booking. Like Bayley does not have to lose the SmackDown Championship on Friday night this week. She does not have to. She doesn't have to wrestle for it. But you know,
I got to do a slow burn build to that, and she's going to lose it. She's got to lose it to Sasha.
It's funny that they said the KO show was going to have Aleister Black on it, because this would be the perfect moment for KO to push the buttons. You know, like KO go out there and be like, "Well, Sasha, you helped Bayley, but Bayley didn't help you."
I got a better. Put him on the dirt sheet with Miz and Morrison. You know they're good at pushing buttons and pissing people off.
They are, and it's on SmackDown, but you could do it on both. You know, they could be doing the talk show circuit. You know.
Yeah.
Like, so I would have been, although it would have felt like the same thing two nights in a row. But, you know, you might be right. Maybe that's exactly what they do. Maybe they do that, or maybe they even bring back a moment of bliss. You know?
I think, and I want to talk about that too.
Well, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Because I was confused.
See it coming, Tino. You'll never see it coming. So, with the Sasha, Asuka, Bayley love triangle, I'm okay with that. I'm wondering if who they have to defend the titles against is going to be Asuka and Shayna. I think that's the most ideal, but
because Shayna's going to be next for the women's championship, so that'd be a kind of a they're tag team champions. They're also feuding over that main strap.
Yeah, which they've used that storyline in the past, like Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold Steve Austin, and So I kind of agree. However, what if they decided to throw a complete curveball at us and said Shayna sits there and puts Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir against them, and Shayna keeps getting involved with the match and causes Jessamine and Marina Shafir to actually win those titles. It'd be a nice introduction for them as fighters.
And as you said too, they're looking Monday. They're doing a reset, which they usually do the reset after WrestleMania. So I'm wondering why they're doing a reset after SummerSlam.
Well, I mean, at this point, like, you've had the same wrestlers fighting each other every week for 4 months. You probably need to change it up every 4 months or so, right? So with that, I mean, I'm good on those, and obviously we'll get to see a little bit more of that tomorrow night, I'm sure. So you'll never see it coming, Tino.
This is one of the matches where the ending, I was like, it was a good match until the end.
It was. I mean, both men got busted open. In fact, I think it's only the third time I've seen Randy Orton busted open in his entire career. And that, that distinction goes to Mick Foley, Brock Lesnar, and now Drew McIntyre. So, I mean, there's probably a couple others, maybe against Batista or something when they were feuding, but solid match. They're both good workers. I felt it was weird watching Randy Orton try to run away from him a bunch. Like, they're both 6'5". Like, stand up to him, and how are you ever supposed to get the you'll never see it coming RKO if you're just running away from him? Like, I was hoping when Drew McIntyre went up to the top rope that's when there was going to be like a from out of nowhere RKO that he would kick out of, but we didn't get that. In fact, I was pretty.
Did he hit an RKO in the match?
I don't think so. If he did, it was out of nowhere, and I didn't see it because there was a moment where Drew kicked out at 1, but I don't think that was an RKO.
There wasn't an RKO, and there wasn't a Claymore thrown.
There was an attempted Claymore that Randy ducked under.
There's a bunch of attempted RKOs. I think the only thing that he really one of Drew's main signature moves that he hit was that Glasgow kiss. I think that's the only thing he hit.
He hit that. He also hit the future shock DDT.
That's right. He did.
But he did not hit the kick, which means they're obviously going to have another match now. And the fact that he just kept looking at Randy after the match, which, by the way, folks, ended with a roll up. Pretty much, it was a
backslide.
Backslide.
Yeah, he countered an RKO into the backslide.
Yeah, well, it was like 2 RKOs countered and a future shock DDT that they just kept spinning around apparently, and then he finally just backslid him. And I, honest to God, can't think the last time I actually saw a backslide win a match.
Not a main event match like that, not in a big pay-per-view.
Yeah, and this is a main event at SummerSlam, so you're like, what? 3 count? What?
Yeah.
What? Evan Courageous show up? 3 count? Shane Helms? Hey, we like Shane Helms.
Boo. Okay.
He's a North Carolina guy.
We did a joke. I was booing your joke.
Come on, just because half of our audience probably doesn't know who 3 count was, look them up, folks. Just remember, this match did contain one of the guys from 3MB, so
yeah.
which was pretty much a 3 count. Like,
boo.
It seriously was. Anyways, we'll go on to the main event of the evening, because we are trying to keep this within an hour for tonight, because we will be back tomorrow as long as we can get on the air. By the way, I tested my stream today. Yes, we will be able to do it tomorrow, Tino, because I was able to verify that my stream went live today when I did a drawing. I drew Ren and Stimpy, by the way, today.
What happened last week? Did you ever figure it out?
No, but if you want to see, I drew Ren and Stimpy today.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. I want it.
And they go together. So it's the first time I tried to do two like next to each other so that they actually combine. But okay. Fiend comes out first. He kind of has this weird like on his way down to the ring now. Braun comes down with the new haircut. Completely.
I wonder if he's trying to sell the getting thrown off the dock on Friday night.
Changes you stuff. Is that what you're thinking?
No, he had a bad hip. Maybe his leg was hurt from getting thrown off the dock.
Oh, maybe. I think it's just to make him look creepier. Because because he goes through the match and he looks fine. Although he does look like he's putting weight on again. Like he got himself in a really good shape, and now he's starting to like balloon. Right in this area right here. Which is always funny because he looks like a cartoon character with his legs looking as skinny as they do with that big belly that he's got.
Those pants don't help. This cartoon character.
No, you're right. They don't. I mean, he looks like he's wearing a referee shirt that went through like the bleach. But I'm okay with it because he's a circus act, right? So of course, like, I mean, he's the Joker. So he's wearing the pink and white striped pants, or pink and black striped pants, whichever ones they are that he's wearing. I'm completely fine with that. The match starts after they introduce Braun. He comes down to the ring, holds the belt up, and they proceed to start beating the hell out of each other.
Yes.
Like physical harm, beating the hell out of each other. Like these two, like by the end of the match, Braun had a welt on the side of his bald head that was bleeding, not profusely, but enough to where you could tell that when someone goes like this, their entire hand's covered. Bray took a beating, and of course, every time Braun tried to pin him, Bray kicked out, and Braun sitting there going, "What do you have to do to stop this guy?" Although he'd already technically stopped him, he just hadn't pinned him for the win. You know, like they're sitting there talking about how like we haven't seen the Fiend take this kind of beating before, but yet he keeps getting up. So Braun Strowman goes outside of the ring, and I'm gonna cut right to like the end because I mean, like, match was solid. It took 20 minutes or so. Not really a wrestling match, but he grabs a box cutter, and I'm
going to cut his hair or stab him or something.
So this is what I thought. I thought he was going to cut the mask off to see what was underneath. That would have been a cool visual. But no, he literally starts cutting up the ring. And I get it. When you take the padding off the ring, which is only this thick to begin with, folks, when you cut the padding off the ring, you were literally just dropping somebody on wood. And Bray immediately turns it into two Sister Abigails and I think a DDT on it. No,
it's just two Sister Abigails.
No, he did something before the first Sister Abigail. Then he picked him up for the Sister Abigail and immediately picked him up for a second one because it's like he knew that first Sister Abigail was not going to be enough. But then he proceeds to win the match.
And I text you, what the hell?
Yeah, because here's one of those bad booking decisions, by the way. Actually, no.
Two things.
It was
I had questions.
It was actually a pretty good booking decision, but immediately you think, and I haven't said who it is yet, but you immediately think, is this guy heel?
Because they cheered him when he won.
Well, I'm okay with that, but he immediately, he spears the Fiend, and we'll go ahead and we'll just drop it in there, folks. You'll never see it coming. Roman Reigns is back. He spears the Fiend, but then immediately goes out of the ring, and I thought he was going to grab a microphone.
I did too.
But he grabs a steel chair and proceeds to beat the hell out of Braun Strowman. Says something that I couldn't quite make out what he said because he didn't have a microphone in his hand.
He said, "You're not a monster unless I'm here."
The hell does that mean?
I don't know.
He
said it's either unless I'm here or while I'm here, but it's along those lines. You're not a monster unless I'm here.
But then he goes back into the ring and does more damage to Bray Wyatt. And make sure that you see his T-shirt, which says "Wreck everyone and leave."
Sound familiar?
Well, it
Stone Cold
sounds
shirt.
like show up, drink beer, and leave.
Raise hell and leave.
Yeah. Show up, raise hell, and drink beer, leave. I think it's yeah. Now,
2 other questions. Where was Alexa? Where was Retribution?
the Retribution thing can be held back with a couple statements. Tomorrow night they could say, and I bet you were wondering where Retribution was. Well, we had extra security tonight, so they were unable to get into the building. Okay. Done.
Wait a minute. I thought about this while I was watching. What if, and you're going to hate this, what if Roman is leading Retribution?
The thought crossed the mind, Tino.
Because he was wearing all black.
He was. And it looked like he was wearing a hoodie when he first showed up and speared him. Well, who the hell is that? And of course, if you notice, they didn't go, it's got to be Retribution, like they do every time they show up. They're like, that's Roman Reigns. So I think you're right. And I wonder if they actually asked him if he wants to be a heel. You know,
Well, it would make sense. I mean, they were trying to push him as a face and it wasn't working. So, yes, give him the Rock treatment. Die, Rocky, die. You go away, come back, you're a heel. And you're in a faction.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Like, and what if those other members of Retribution, although we did see Jey Uso get thrown out of the ring last week, what if it's all the Samoans?
You can have Samoa Joe still stand up.
You know, Samoa Joe did say that his inside sources were telling him that something was going to happen
Tonight?
No, that was on Monday.
Oh, yeah.
Right at the beginning of the episode, he's like, you know, when he's standing up to and Seth's like, "Tell me what's going on, Joe." You know, that whole thing, and he's like, "Why don't you sit down, little man?" You know, that whole thing. But
so you saying we got a 2020 Samoan SWAT team?
I've already said if all the Samoans got together, they would make a hell of a faction. Like,
but there's too many in Retribution right now. So what
if that's how they bring in The Rock's daughter?
But you got to think about that. They've got all these people, so we have 2 females. So it would be Tamina, it would be The Rock's daughter, or that's how they bring back Nia.
Could be Naomi.
Naomi's not Samoan,
but she's part of the family now.
Okay, and then you've got and then you have what's the Samoan dude that was on NXT and he was the rich dude.
Dabba-Kato?
Huh?
Dabba-Kato?
No, the young skinny young dude. You're being an asshole now. I'm being serious.
Sanjay Dutt made an appearance last night on SmackDown, or on SmackDown, not last night, but Sanjay Dutt.
No, asshole.
What if it's all the old TNA wrestlers?
Thank you, folks, for tuning in this evening. I've been Tino. You can check him out.
You look like you're in the Thunderdome, Tino.
You can check him out at PotCheck. You can check me out at HootieFan91. No, seriously, we just want to pop on here and give you a review because Rob messed up Monday Night Show. We had to make it up for you.
Rob did not mess up the show. I don't even know what happened.
But seriously, that wouldn't be a bad idea though if it was a Samoan faction.
Dude,
but there's too many people in it right now.
Well, I just think that you start with like family, right? And what's one family that always talks about being held back in pro wrestling? The Samoans.
They'd have to bring in more Samoans because I don't think they have enough Samoans in WWE right now.
Well, like I said, I think you start it there. Oh, what the heck just happened? Okay, there we go.
We're still live.
Yes, we are still live. Jerk. But but I'm glad to see Roman back. I guess he feels his daughters are as comfortable as they're gonna be. Obviously his reason for going home was because he didn't feel it was safe. So I guess in the Thunderdome he feels more safe. I don't know.
But I do wonder if he's heel or if he's face. So we'll find out. Right.
I think that what they're going to try to embrace with him, Tino, is the same thing they did with John Cena, which is John Cena's going to come in and do John Cena, and you're either going to love him or hate him. So to you, he's a face or a heel. And I think that's why his shirt says, wreck everyone and leave. He's going to get the job done. He's going to go home.
And I asked a question, but we never really touched on it. They spent 2-3 weeks building up this Alexa Bliss thing. So why not even have her show up at SummerSlam?
Maybe they're still selling the fact that she got thrown by Braun 2 weeks ago.
Because they even had Nikki Cross on Friday night say that Lexi's different. I talked to Lexi and she's not the same Lexi. So
I don't think they know what they're doing with that. I think that what they need to do is she'll show up at actually she may show up at the Payback pay-per-view. Maybe they held her off because they were doing the Roman angle, but now you'll get your return match between The Fiend and Braun Strowman, and Alexa will be the reason why Braun loses the next one. I'm telling you, she's going to end up being the Harley Quinn, Sister Abigail character.
They're just drawing it out.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have another pay-per-view in 7 days. You might as well.
That they don't have anything but the women tag team belts promised on that show. What other matches are on that show?
And here, the saddest part about that is they're probably not going to book anything except for, okay, Randy, you get your return match. Since I only beat you with the backslide, or Street Profits versus Andrade and Aquaman again, or whatever. It'll probably, it's called Payback. It'll probably just be return matches. But it would be nice to see some new matches on those cards. So. Yeah. So the real question, though, is besides that, are they going to say, this is your last chance to face me, Randy? This is your last chance. And then all of a sudden, he's already going on to someone else even before that match with Randy's over. Because they got to start building towards the next one at this point, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. Tomorrow night's supposed to also be the beginning of the Shane McMahon era as the head writer of Raw.
What is going on?
That's it. It's merry-go-round, next week you'll be the main writer, and they still won't give it to me, even though I've proven I know how to book the matches. Last thing I'm going to say about Roman Reigns here. There was already speculation he was coming back, Tino. One of the main things that they did when he disappeared was they took him off of all types of programming, all types of advertising, all types of media appearances, everything. And then earlier in the night during SummerSlam, they showed an advertisement for Hyundai and them doing charitable work, and it was voiced by Roman Reigns. Whoever did that needs to be fired. Not the charitable work or whatever, but gave us that little knick-knack that makes us go, Roman Reigns could come back tonight. You don't want it. You never see it coming. You don't want to see it coming.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad Alexa Bliss didn't show up because I would have seen it a mile away.
Good point.
We never saw her not coming. We expected it.
That's what we never saw coming.
And then, as I said to you, if you're going to introduce Keith Lee on WWE Raw programming, don't do it in a vignette. Do it either he shows up and he beats up Kevin Owens while he's sitting at the commentary booth because no one's paying attention to that match anyway. Not saying that he's supposed to be a heel, Okay, just saying that like that's the kind of thing that you do. Like you have a heel sitting there at the commentary booth, and he just comes out, gets in his face, and says, "Oh yeah, you want to do something about it?" Slaps the headset off of him, and then boom, you got the match on Monday night, right? Then you've already built and established that he's going to be there. Now he's going to show up, and it's going to be like, "Oh, Keith Lee's here. What's he doing?"
But how's he going to show up? You never know when he's going to show up. You know what I mean?
Oh,
they always announce. They have Matt Riddle, but Matt Riddle's coming to SmackDown. I mean, they let you know when these guys are coming.
Yeah, but part of the fun of it is when they don't let you know they're coming and they just show up. Like Keith Lee's kind of hard to hide, but I mean, your favorite line on this show is "Where the F did Joe come from?" I mean, we know where he is right now. He's at the commentary booth, but if he enters that ring, we're still going to wonder where he came from.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we just do. That's night, you know, but I almost wonder if what's going to happen is Keith Lee's going to show up and Dijakovic's going to show up like alongside him. Like, and not alongside him, but he's going to show up and he's going to get in his face, and they're actually going to start a feud on Raw. Because they've kind of said that people that watch Raw don't necessarily watch NXT. You know,
which isn't the bad, because I didn't realize that him and Dijakovic had such a long history together until I started watching Best of Evolved with Keith Lee. I'm like, how many matches did you have with Dijakovic?
That's why I mean those guys are the plus 300-pound version of Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. You know, like those guys can just have matches forever, and it'll be fine. It'll be interesting. You know, all of it'll be interesting. So, I think they're going to immediately throw him right into the deep end with Drew McIntyre, though.
You really think so?
I do.
They're not going to give him the belt. They need to build him up. They're not going to give him the belt.
Well, no, but what they could do is they could do that whole go ahead and face him, and if you beat me, then you become the number one contender, and then he beats him somehow. Maybe Randy gets involved, and they make a three-way dance between Randy, Keith, and Drew, and that's how Randy ends up sneaking out with the belt. That way Drew stays strong and, you know, whatever. I don't know.
How's that helping Keith? Again, that's the kind of bullshit I hate. Is they have these big stars in NXT and then they bring them up and they shit on them.
Oh, you mean like when they go from WWE over to AEW?
No, they haven't shit on Moxley.
No, because Moxley was a world champion. They haven't shit on Jericho because Jericho is a world champion. But
they haven't shit on Brody Lee.
Are you sure? He lost his first match.
To who?
To Moxley. Got thrown into the deep end and lost.
That's Moxley.
Brian Cage thrown into the deep end, lost.
Brian Cage.
Murder Hawk thrown right into the Murder Hawk used to be WWE.
Yeah, it used to be. He was a jobber in WWE.
Now he's Murder Hawk.
And he's getting murdered.
My point is, besides what they did with Brody Lee this week, up until now, Brody Lee had even been like mid-card at best in AEW.
Yeah, whatever.
So, and it'll be interesting. I know that Vince likes Keith Lee, so we may see Keith Lee thrown right in. We may also see Keith Lee go up and immediately go against the Hurt Business.
Yeah.
You know, because for some reason, and I've pointed this out to you, they like when the African American group goes up against African American wrestlers. Hey, I'm not the one doing it, Tino.
Like, why are you pointing it out?
Hurt Business. Hurt Business.
Why are you pointing it out?
I'm gonna point out, since they've been known as the Hurt Business, you want to know who they feuded with? Apollo Crews, Ricochet, Cedric Alexander, and Ron the Truth Killings.
You're not wrong, but why you gotta point it out?
And maybe even the Street Profits. I think they even got in the Street Profits face one night. Like,
I think they got an Aquaman in Andrade's face.
I don't think so. I think the closest, the only time they did anything else was with the very beginning when MVP showed up and he got Bobby Lashley the match against Drew McIntyre. That was it. That's the only person that they have really faced And for a couple of weeks, they had Kevin Owens tying it up with him.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but there you go, pointed out.
We're going to have us a 6-pack challenge match, player. What?
Nothing. I'm pointing at you.
On the nose?
That guy. No,
On
that
the
guy.
nose?
I'm pointing at you somehow. There it is.
Can't help it, man. Why don't you take us out of here?
I tried to earlier. You didn't let me.
Well, that's true. I'm going to let you this time.
You can find me on Twitter at Hootie Fan. You can find him at Potcheck. You can also find him at Potcheck on the Insta. No, he's at Rob Potcheck on Insta and YouTube. You can always check us out on Facebook at the Potsy and Tino Show. As always, we want to say thank you to Adam's House Cats for the wrestling song, which you can get on iTunes for 99 cents. And until I hate you. Until next time, folks. Till tomorrow night. Ric Flair, he's saying, woo!
Go ahead and give us a like and a subscribe. Comment in the place below, but subscribe to the channel. Everybody, thanks so much. We'll see you next time tomorrow.
Peace. You're an asshole.